Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Whether you're nerding out or ready to place your bet, San Diego is the place to be this weekend. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The summer racing season at Del Mar got underway today, and it was day 2 of Comic-Con. But you don't need to have a convention badge to get your geek on. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman is live downtown, where he's been checking out some of the free activities outside of the con. Matt?
Yeah, Maya, if you're like me and you do not have a Comic-Con badge this year, you're thinking, oh, I kind of want to go down, maybe check it out, see what's going on, but I'm not sure I'm going to have a good time. Well, let me tell you, think again, because there is a lot of fun and free things to do down here. I think if there was ever a myth that you could not have fun at Comic-Con without a badge, we just proved that today. One place that's free and doesn't require a badge is the interactive zone just outside of Petco Park. There's plenty to do here, grabbing some food, taking your picture with some giant transformers, or even checking out a recreation from the set of the movie Dazed and Confused. It's celebrating its 30th anniversary this year.
We don't have the Comic-Con badges, but we just came to have fun. We've been kind of coming down here and doing this every year since they were very little. So it's sort of a part of our summer family tradition is to come out here and bake in the sun and get free stuff and see what movies and different TV shows are out here.
Another free activation is Hulu's Animayhem. Lines are a little long here, but once you're inside, you're surrounded by popular animated characters, from the show Bob's Burgers to Futurama and The Simpsons. You can even get a 360 video with the backdrop of the living room from Family Guy. KPBS photojournalist Charlotte and I had a lot of fun at this one.
Well, here we are.
If you're a fan, you're gonna like walking around and looking at the costumes. I love, if they let me, take pictures of people. Like, there's a couple of costumes I just saw that are amazing. People put in all their effort. So just watching that, seeing people happy, laughing, having a good time. There's plenty to do out here. Plenty to do. Free, pay, reservations, tickets. There's so much out here.
FX also has a large campus outside of the Hilton just by the San Diego Convention Center. Here you can win some prizes and see recreations of scenes from popular shows like American Horror Story.
I've told many friends many times, actually one of our friends this trip was unable to get a badge, and he's like, oh, should I go? And it's like, you can totally go without a badge. There's so much stuff outside, like, you know, what I just did. There's so much stuff downtown.
There's free activities happening pretty much all around the convention center downtown. Some of them do require reservations, so check ahead of time before heading down here. But even if you don't want to wait in line for the fun and games, there's plenty of cool costumes and outfits to check out. And Maya, check this out. This is some of the free swag that we got while we were down here today. And basically what you saw in that package is really only scratching the surface of all the free and fun stuff that you can do down here at Comic-Con. Many restaurants are being taken over by gaming companies, by movie studios, and it's a really fun experience. One thing I will say, though, we were out here today, it was pretty warm. So if you're coming out, make sure you bring lots of water and definitely sunscreen, something I'm kind of regretting right now. But you do not need a Comic-Con badge to have some fun out here. In downtown, Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
And the Hollywood strikes are keeping actors and writers away from Comic-Con and on the picket lines at LA studios. But today, local actors with the SAG-AFTRA union demonstrated near the convention in a show of support. Mark Allen, a SAG member for over 5 years, says he wanted to let people know why they are striking.
Today's environment is so much different with AI and streaming, and the models that they have now currently in place are not acceptable. They're not sustainable for a working actor to even make ends meet, and they have to be changed.
And And we should mention that many staff members here at KPBS are part of the SAG-AFTRA union, but KPBS staff belong to the broadcast arm of the union, which is not taking part in the performers' strike. After 2 years of work, the city of Oceanside held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for their first homeless shelter. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne was there for a first look.
Local, county, and state officials gathered for the opening of Oceanside's first homeless shelter. The property underwent a $7 million renovation to transform the former school grounds into a 50-bed shelter.
You're going to walk up those steps and you're going to feel like I got a chance. This is not a tent. This is not a parking lot. This is a place where you're going to get a lot of care, a lot of love, a lot of kindness, and we're going to help you figure out your stuff.
Donnie D is the head of the San Diego Rescue Mission, the organization contracted by the city to run the shelter's program. The agreement was for the city to cover the cost of the remodel, while the San Diego Rescue Mission takes care of the operating costs.
Do you know how this place is getting funded? By private donors. We're not taking any money from the city or from the county, from the state, from HUD to operate this place. We're raising $1.2 million a year to operate this on your behalf. How about that?
D says the shelter will begin to welcome people experiencing homelessness in 2 weeks. It has a low barrier to entry.
So you can have a pet, you can have a physical disability, you can be inebriated, you can have mental health challenges, so long as you're not a danger to yourself or anybody else, and that you can live by the rules that we have, then we got a spot for you.
The Oceanside Navigation Center will work in conjunction with the San Diego Rescue Mission's other facilities.
Let us help you figure out where you go next. It may be downtown, it may be to another facility, but this is the system that we're building so that we can begin to move people from living on the streets to living again.
People will be offered a 30-day stay at the Oceanside Navigation Center on a referral basis only.
It is not a walk-in facility, so it is referral only. And generally, most of the referrals will come through our own homeless outreach team, which is the HOT team. So we expect most of the referrals to come through that entity.
Jonathan Borrego is the Oceanside city manager. He says other referrals will come from service partners and the city's housing department. The first clients going into Oceanside's Navigation Center will be people who previously had hotel vouchers. The San Diego Rescue Mission will run the shelter for a year before considering expanding it to 100 beds. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Well, it's off to the races. Del Mar began its 84th racing season today in front of a sold-out crowd. And KPBS reporter Melissa May takes us to the tracks.
Opening day at the Del Mar racetrack means lots of colorful hats and a fun atmosphere.
Look around you. I mean, the sea breeze are going, the sun is shining. It's a party atmosphere. Opening day always is, and it's really kind of fun because you get a lot of people that don't normally come to racing to come out on opening day and have a good time.
Joe Harper is the president and CEO of the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club and says the horses that people come to watch are protected with stricter safety protocols and procedures in the last few years.
The horsemen, the trainers, realizing that they have to spend a lot more time keeping these horses safe and adopting these procedures and protocols as we implement them. And so that's happened, and that's really the key, I think, is getting everybody on board here.
23,000 people are expected to enjoy this opening day, but not everyone is here to enjoy the races.
They're a commodity that no one really cares about, and they're injured. They are born to race. They start their training almost as soon as they're born, and at 18 months, they're overtrained so they could race at racetracks.
But worker advocate for horse racing, Oscar De La Torre, says the horses are well taken care of.
There's just a tremendous amount of oversight now. So there's more veterinarians that have to sign off on a horse. They're evaluating the horses. You know, the grooms wake up in the morning, they're taking temperature. They're seeing if anything is wrong with the horse, they scratch scratch a horse, meaning they won't allow a horse to race. They do blood tests, blood samples to make sure that there's no illegal doping.
If you're thinking about coming to see this all for yourself, where the turf meets the surf, as they say, the racing season runs until September 10th. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Well, we are still tracking that intense heat. The heat remains the big story across our region, and we do have excessive heat warnings in effect across a lot of our area, inland, across the high deserts, even portions of the mountains. Heat advisories a little further east. Not too bad along the coast, but we are also tracking monsoonal moisture pushing in by Sunday. We'll tell you where temperatures go this weekend as we are continuing to deal with that intense heat, and who could see rain by the end of the weekend.
The hearing continues in a civil case against former San Diego State football star Matt Ariza. At the center of today's arguments, videos of the alleged rape at a house party near the SDSU campus. KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen has the latest.
In court, Matt Ariza's attorney says this is about fairness. Attorney Dick Simerjian says if this were a criminal trial, those videos would definitely be available for Ariza's defense. He says they should be available for Ariza's civil defense as well, because the facts of the case are essentially the same.
Those videos are they're the best evidence in this case as to whether there was assault, whether there was intoxication.
Ariza, along with 4 other former San Diego State football players, are accused in a civil lawsuit of raping a then 17-year-old girl at a house party near the SDSU campus on October 2021. Police obtained the videos of the alleged assault during their criminal investigation. The district attorney declined to press criminal charges this past December, citing a lack of evidence. The video clips were part of the reason why. In a transcript obtained by KPBS of the meeting between the DA's office and the young woman, Deputy District Attorney Tricia Amador told the young woman that in looking at the tapes, she could not prove any forcible sexual assault happened. In court today, the city attorney's office says police have 12 short clips ranging from 5 seconds to less than a minute. This is the first time police confirmed the exact number of clips in their possession. According to the warrants, clips were from social media and cell phone videos. Police had argued that they could not release the clips under California law banning the distribution of child pornography. The attorney for the young woman said because the clips were from the alleged attacker's point of view and only showed the young woman, they have no value for the defense. Simerjian disagrees.
I think they're going to show a lot more than that. I think they're going to show who's in the room. I think they're going to show that she's not intoxicated. I think they're going to show that she orchestrated and was a willing participant in the sex act. Similar to what the district attorney found.
The city attorney told the court the videos are available for both sides to view under protective order. The judge ordered both sides to arrange a time with the city's attorney's office to view them. He says he will issue a ruling in 2 weeks on whether they can be released and entered into evidence. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
If it feels like there's a lot going on in San Diego lately, you are right. SDSU's Mira Kopik explains why July is so important for local tourism and our economy in the Friday Business Report.
This is a critical time. It's the peak of tourist season in Southern California. You're dealing with a lot of people from a lot of countries. You know, of these, the 135,000 people, they're representing over 50 countries. So these people are making big investments to come out here. It brings in about $165 million in total spend, of which $90 million is direct in the Comic-Con downtown area. This is 13% of all income that the convention center received in 2022 coming into 2023. So this is really important for the city of San Diego. It brings in over $3 million in hotel tax, another several million in sales tax. So for the city, for the city's image, and for the impact on tourism, Comic-Con is an anchor event.
Unemployment is up in San Diego County. According to the Employment Development Department, the county's unemployment rate increased to 4% in June, and that is up from 3.5% in May and 3.4% in June of last year. But some industries like agriculture, leisure, and manufacturing added jobs. A new study finds San Diegans could see lower electricity bills if the city formed a municipal utility. But as KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen explains, the path to public power isn't an easy one.
Cities have the right to form their own public power companies, but few dare to try, fearing long, drawn-out legal battles with private utilities who want to protect their assets and profits. Consultants hired by the city found in the long run, ratepayers could save up to 14% in the first decade under a public utility. Both SDG&E and its unionized electrical workers are fighting against public power, but Councilmember Joe LaCava tried to reassure the workers.
Let me make it very clear. I am not interested in losing any of the good jobs. This is not going to be a city department. If there is not a one-to-one replacement for the union jobs at the union wages and with the union benefits, I am not interested.
Environmental activists spoke in support of forming a public utility. They say it would do a better job than SDG&E of supporting the city's climate goals, which largely depend on replacing gas appliances with electric ones.
As you know, the investor-owned utilities in the state, including SDG&E, are actively working to undermine rooftop solar and building electrification in California and San Diego. There's no way that the city will reach its climate action plan goals to decarbonize the city unless we heed the recommendation of the Public Power Feasibility Study and move rapidly to a nonprofit, community-owned public power system.
The savings under a public utility would be significantly less if SDG&E is able to get the city to pay a higher price for all of its assets. Those include its poles, power lines, and transformer stations. And the costs of the inevitable legal battle would reduce those savings even further. SDG&E says the risks outlined in the study make it clear they are still the best option for San Diego ratepayers. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Well, we'll start off with your weather headlines as we head into the weekend. The heat remains the big story, but we will see some brief monsoonal moisture push in Sunday into Monday. That could bring about some thunderstorms, especially for the mountains and high deserts. But again, that heat remains the big story, which is why I want to take you here first. In effect through Saturday evening, we do have excessive heat warnings in effect as we move a little bit more inland across the high deserts into the mountains as well. But then we also have heat advisories that extend a little bit further west. So again, be on the lookout. It's not going to be necessarily as hot there along the coast. We have a marine level that's keeping temperatures relatively steady there, or keeping temperatures down. But again, as we move a little bit further east, that's when temperatures start to soar. You're going to want to take care of yourself in this heat. It is nothing to play around with, folks. Tonight, we're dropping down to a low of 66 around San Diego, and then for Oceanside, we're dropping down to 63. Borrego Springs just down to 80. Mount Laguna 71. So it is still going to be hot, hot, hot. This is where we are going to be experiencing the most extreme heat. And then even taking this into tomorrow, well, temperatures are going to be staying in the 80s along the coast. But then as we move inland, Ramona at 100, Borrego Springs at 114, and even Mount Laguna coming in with a high of 81 as we head into tomorrow. Now, we do have that monsoonal moisture on the way. We're going to take this throughout Saturday. Not too much to show you now. But then as we head into Sunday afternoon, that's when things start to ramp up action-wise. It's not going to be overly widespread, but still you could experience a thunderstorm or two, especially across the mountains and high deserts. Along the coast, we're staying in the 80s with partly sunny skies. We'll have some clouds with that marine layer, but then as we head inland, highs are going to be remaining in the 90s. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds throughout the week, but you'll see some peaks of sun. Again, for the mountains, a brief thunderstorm or two is going to be possible Sunday into Monday, but then highs are going to be staying in the 70s as we start to slip back down. It's going to be a little cooler by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then for the deserts, well, we're staying in the triple digits, typical for this time of year, but still it's going to be hot, especially on Saturday. Make sure that you are taking plenty of cooling breaks and staying hydrated. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Bree Dye.
Superheroes and scientists are taking over the Comic-Con Museum in Balboa Park. A science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics fair is underway for younger comic fans. A group of female scientists, engineers, and artists from around the country are leading hands-on experiments and project-based lessons. It's free and no comic badge is required.
There is a lot of art in the sciences and vice versa. So Comic-Con's all about the popular arts, but we wouldn't have those popular arts without the science, the technology, and the engineering behind it.
And the STEAM Fair continues at the Comic-Con Museum Saturday and Sunday from 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And Comic-Con is in full swing, but if you can celebrate comics anytime by visiting your local bookstore. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando visited 3 shops to see what they can offer fans during and after the pop culture convention.
My name's Lucky Bronson. I'm one of the owners of Kamikaze Comics and Pop Culture Store here in San Diego, Claremont Mesa Boulevard. The store's been around since '93, and we're known for our huge collection of graphic novels, manga, comics.
Yes, there are single floppy issues every week, but generally what we do is we do the collections.
My name is Aaron Treitz. I'm the owner of Now or Never Comics. We are located right downtown. We are the closest comic shop to San Diego Comic-Con.
I'd say we're pretty eclectic, and we kind of have a good variety of comics, new, old, independent, children's, all ages. Well, honestly, we had been wanting to open a store in San Diego for years because this will be our 21st year at Comic-Con. We have a booth there.
We see an enormous amount of traffic from Comic-Con. It's far and away our busiest week of the year. There's still a ton of interest for more. It's been really interesting seeing so many folks leave Comic-Con and they didn't find the thing that they were looking for, and they still want to hunt for it. Or, you know, they've had the kind of big show floor experience, but they're still looking for, you know, more bins to dig through. They're still looking for something a little less Hollywood, and they want something a little bit more, you know, old school comic shop.
I think it's mostly a positive for us with Comic-Con being in town. There's a lot of people in San Diego that do not like Comic-Con, whether it be the traffic or what they perceive as the lack of focus on comics. So they love comics, and so they definitely want their fix.
But we do see people who are looking for like a quieter place from Comic-Con after a couple of days of that. They'll want to look at comics.
We usually have a display that we put up when the Eisner nominees come in, what books are available. We pull them and make sure people are aware that they're available and that we want to promote them.
I have a stack of books, so.
Anytime the awards come up and nominations go out, we get an uptick in sales for these books.
Just to give you a certain flavor with it. Twig is going to give you a peek.
Human Target is a great read, amazing art, definitely something I voted for. And so, yeah, we'd like to bring attention to all these books that are amazing.
That I think is where the Eisners are most helpful, kind of bringing attention to books that might be a little bit off the beaten path or a little bit further outside the mainstream big 2 comic publishers. So these are books that I'm going to carry in the shop. These are definitely books that I'm going to order more of.
Chivalry. Chivalry is a Neil Gaiman short story that is a delightful story. It's a short story. It's an old lady who found the Holy Grail at their local thrift store. And then Sir Galahad came to her door asking for it back. And so they, of course, being English, they have tea.
Did you hear what Eddie Gain done? That was an Eisner nominee last year from Eric Powell of The Goon. But did you hear what Eddie Gain done? Was absolutely chilling kind of account of Ed Gain and you know, the inspiration for Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a lot of books that were not on my radar at all until the Eisners kind of brought them to my attention. Bungleton Green and the Mystic Commandos was kind of an oddball standout for me. That was one that I discovered as an Eisner judge last year.
There'll be choices. Yes, we can definitely, certainly introduce them to things that they may not have seen otherwise. Short of like walking around the small press area or the artist alley in Comic-Con, we have a smaller version of that.
And that story was produced by Beth Accomando. Comic-Con takes over much of downtown San Diego all day and all night. KPBS video journalist Matt Bowler gives us a taste of what the transition from day to night is like at the con.
Comic-Con was something that every kid is interested in, right? Like the hero, the villains, the masterminds, all like how all this is put together. It's just a lot. My name is Bernard Appel, from Queens, New York. As the sun goes down, like as you're seeing right now, we're optimistic that there's more mischievous, like villain almost characters.
The sun comes down, the drinks are coming up, so there's obviously a lot more excitement. Victor Spade, I am 33, born and raised in San Diego. We'll say the girls' outfits or the guys' outfits, people are drinking, they're taking shots. Nighttime, like I said, you let loose just as you would for any conference.
I'm a 31-year-old single male from New York, so I'm looking tonight to find these same characters or people in their full swing of things, but doing adult stuff. We were the heroes all day.
What my man say? Good trouble. We're looking for some good trouble tonight.
We're the good bad. Right. We're the good bad guys.
Yeah.
And that story was produced by video journalist Matt Bowler. You can find all of our Comic-Con coverage on our website, kpbs.org. Just click on the banner that you can find right on our homepage. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.